up, guys? I just got done watching UFC on Fox 4, and man, that was a great night of fights. I'm glad the UFC finally got a great card on Fox after the last one was a bit of a disappointment. And I just want to do a quick recap and kind of like a post-game show talking about the fights. And I will start with the first fight, Mike Swick versus DeMarcus Johnson. I originally predicted Johnson to be the winner because I thought ring rust would be too big of a factor for Mike Swick. He's been out of the cage for 2 years. And in the first round, I was looking correct. Johnson kind of dominated. He was on top. He was doing some ground and pound. He had a submission attempt in there. But Swick survived the round, and in the second round, he caught a leg kick, and he tripped and got Johnson down. And on the way down, he caught him with a big right hand, and it was it. That was it. He was out after that one shot. He followed up with 2 big shots behind it, but that was a mere formality, and Swick got a very impressive win after 2 years out of the cage. I'm glad for him. He was one of my favorite fighters at welterweight before, he was gone for the last 2 years. And as I said in my preview video, he was very close to a title shot. He was in a title eliminator that he lost by decision to Dan Hardy, and then he was choked out in his next fight against Paulo Thiago. But that's a good win. Now we'll see. Hopefully he'll get into some bigger fights with some of the bigger names at welterweight. There's a lot of new guys since he's been in there. And I hope to see him in action again soon. The next fight was another amazing fight between Joe Lauzon versus Jamie Varner. And man, that was a great fight. It went 3 rounds and went back and forth. I had, I believe Varner went in the first, Lauzon went in the second, and then Lauzon finished him in the third, choked him out with a triangle in a nice scramble on the ground. Varner got the takedown, I think, and then Lauzon kind of reversed it on him, and just in a scramble he ended up in a triangle and he got the win. Very impressed with both guys. They both looked really good. Varner showed some real power with his right hand. Lauzon, every time it went down though, Varner got a couple of takedowns, and every time it did, he was just such a threat on the ground. And it was just a danger for Varner every time he did that, and it ended up costing him at the end. He tried to get him down to win the round, and he got choked out. But very impressed with both guys. That was a great fight. I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing both of them in the future. Now, the co-main event, Lyoto Machida versus Ryan Bader, that went pretty much exactly how I thought it was going to go. Bader really had nothing to offer in the stand-up. He couldn't take Machida down. And in the second round, Machida catches him with a right hand and just knocks him clean out on the feet. And very impressive performance by Machida. It was kind of funny. He looked really thin going in. It's the thinnest I've ever seen him. He almost always comes in slightly underweight, around 203 pounds or so, 203, 204. He came in like 201 for this fight. He looked really thin, but he was fast, and he was doing all kinds of funny hand motions, but it didn't matter. He looked like he was toying with Bader, and it was a very dominant win for him. Now, the main event, Shogun versus Vera, man, that was a great fight. That was a slugfest. You got to see all facets of MMA, some groundwork, submission attempts, and just very nice stand-up between 2 really good kickboxers. And, man, it was a great fight. Vera surprised me because he was so talented early in his career, but he just seemed to have lost the fire and didn't bring it, wasn't very aggressive anymore. He's always showed heart, he always fights, but he just wasn't aggressive. This fight, he was slightly more aggressive on the feet, and he was, I think, winning a lot of the stand-up exchanges. He got clipped a lot, but he landed some really good shots. And surprisingly, it was Shogun going for the takedowns and getting them. And Vera, has a wrestling background, so that was a little surprising to me that how easily Shogun was able to get him down. And ultimately, he got clipped in the 4th round, and then he was trying to adjust his mouthpiece, it looked like, and Shogun just finished him from there. He landed some big shots, got him down, got in a couple more, and then Herb Dean broke it up. But another fight where I was really impressed with both guys. Vera, that's the best he's looked in a long time. And Shogun, of course, looked just as good as he has his last few fights. He was very impressive with his fight with Dan Henderson. Even though he lost, it was a close decision. He got just brutalized in the first few rounds. And then he came back, and he ended the 5th round. He mounted Dan Henderson and had him down the whole round. But another big win for Shogun. So Dana White had said before this fight that the light heavyweight who gets the most impressive win would move on to face the winner of John Jones and Dan Henderson. And after all the fights, he came forward and said it was Machida with his 2nd round knockout. And he was the more impressive fighter because, like I said, he was toying with Bader. There was, that was not really a competitive fight. Bader had nothing to offer Machida, whereas Vera Shogun was a very good fight, back and forth, even though I would say if it was going to go to a decision, Hua was going to win, but it was a more competitive fight than Machida versus Bader, which was a one-sided affair. Personally, though, all 4 of those guys have already lost to John Jones, and if he wins again, if he beats Dan Henderson, I'm not sure Machida's ready to face him again, even though he's the only guy who's won a round against Jones, is what they said on the telecast. He won the first round in their last fight. That was Machida's last fight. It was against John Jones before this one. And he won the first round, then he got choked out in the second round. So is he ready for another shot at Jones? I don't know. I'm not sure he's necessarily deserving of one after one fight. I kind of don't like that. I don't like immediate rematches generally, and I don't like guys losing, winning one fight, then coming back. I think they should have to win a couple of fights in a row, at least 2, to get back to another title shot. But I guess because of the light heavyweight division, Jones has just completely cleared it out. There's really not a lot of choice in the matter. What I would like to see after that, I'll go ahead and go through some of the matches to make, I think, after UFC on Fox 4. I would actually like to see the 2 winners from tonight, Shogun and Machida, fight again. They fought twice previously. The first fight was a classic, bitterly divided the MMA community. A lot of people thought Shogun won, but Machida got the decision. Then in the second fight, Shogun knocked him out, I believe, in the first round. And I think that's a series that needs to be a trilogy. We need a third fight there. And I think you should let them 2 fight out. They both won tonight. Let them fight it out. Let the winner get the winner of John Jones versus Dan Henderson. And actually, the 2 losers would be a good fight for each other, Vera and Bader, because Bader didn't, before tonight, Bader had been impressive in his last 2 fights. He beat Rampage in the fight before this, but he did not look good tonight. Vera, on the other hand, has not looked good lately, but he looked great tonight. So to kind of reestablish a pecking order down the line, I think that would be a good match, Bader versus Vera. And as for the next 2 guys, Swick, there's plenty of guys for him to fight. I'm not sure who's. I know Fitch, I think, has got a fight coming up. Of course, GSP and Condit, and that's above Swick's rank right now anyway. But, you got the Nick Diaz is out there. Rory McDonald and BJ Penn are about to fight. There's plenty of good fights available at 170. There's a ton of contenders right now. Who was it? Jake Shields is out there. The other guy, I can't remember his name now. But yeah, there's plenty of good fights for Swick. I'm not sure exactly who, but I think it needs to be a top 10 guy. He's a top flight guy. Maybe even a rematch with Paulo Thiago. And as for the lower weight guys, the lightweights, plenty of good fights for them too. Joe Lozon, he lost his fight before this. He won against Varner. That was a big win to me. It was an impressive win. So I think he should get a top guy. And Varner, even though he lost, he looked very good in that fight too. And I think he's deserving of, continued good competition. And that's what I thought about the fights. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment or a video response. Tell me if you thought this event was as amazing as I did, who you thought was the most impressive, and who you think deserves a title shot against John Jones or Dan Henderson. And that's about it for this video.